Apparel Company, a commitment to live your most authentic way every single day. Visit reaperapparelco.com for more information and a look at all of their apparel offerings. And by Good Day Embroidery, your local source for custom embroidery, screen printing, and more. Log on to gooddayembroidery.com for more information.
Did you get all that? Hi, everybody. Welcome to On Deck here on Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. I'm James, and hopefully Crispy Bacon will be here to join us. Oh, there he is. I thought you were frozen for a second. How's everything going, Chris?
Going good. Long weekend. Glad the weekend was here, and it was short-lived, but not too bad.
Doesn't it always seem like that?
It does.
With the weekend, but the weekdays are just long, and you just want it to be over halfway through. Also, yeah, check out all of our sponsors as you heard. Be sure to rank us on all of the on Facebook for those 5 stars. Give us stars. And then check out a list of all of our programming we're gonna have for you throughout the week. Right after this will be Between the Ropes. Remember, on Sundays at 9 p.m. Pacific. Tomorrow you got a Bro Code, and who knows, I might come on for that if needed. Tuesday we have okay. Tuesday we have what the Rankum and then C2C at night. It will be me or Callum McClurg and I'm nothing on that show. That's all him. So that's coming on.
It's both of you. It's not just one.
The brains are on his side. All right. So the what was it? On Wednesday we're gonna have Sports Minute, and then Thursday Creeping It Real, I think, will be there.
Yeah, I believe so.
It had its week off. Right. And then either at the same time or before that, or I think after that would be. Make sure to check out the draft show that we're gonna have for the end football draft. We're gonna go along as it goes along, and we'll give our analysis on all the picks. We'll see what draft trades there are. There's a long possibility of a lot of crazy things happening, a lot of needs, and we'll see if that comes up. Fridays, of course, is Entertainment Hour, and we had a good one last week.
We did.
Last week. It's weird saying Sunday. That's another thing, Chris, with the days of the week. Normally, a new week starts for people that work on Mondays, not Sundays. We need to get that switched, where it's like, okay, Sunday is part of last week. Monday is the start of a new week.
Right.
That just makes. And the same thing in baseball. The schedule. A new week starts, with a new week of games on Mondays instead of Sundays. Anyway, Saturdays, of course, On Deck was moved from Saturday to Sundays to make room for the Oregon Cougar football. I think April 27th. That's coming up. Yep. And then May 4th is the Backyard Brew games with the cornhole, among other things. We'll have coverage of that from Eugene, Oregon. So let's get into what we're talking about with MLB baseball. We'll go with our team reports. Chris.
Yeah.
How did your Rangers do this week? I know I see them in first place, I think, in the AL West, and I know they've been a little better as of late.
Yeah, a little better, as of late, like you said. They finished off their series against the Braves tonight, Sunday night baseball. And they barely got that win tonight. A couple errors by the Rangers, which kind of, had the Braves caught up. But Rangers won and gave the Braves their first loss in 6 games. So they had a 6-game winning streak.
Wow. Yeah, I just saw that right now. Lorenzen got the win for you guys, and Yates got the save. Little reinforcements happening there for Texas as they wait for Max Scherzer. I heard the news that he will be back for you guys. Maybe,
Around May 8th, May 6th, somewhere in there.
and he had back issues, if I recall. So it's amazing how quick he might be coming back. Too quick, maybe. And DeGrom, I think it's still was it August? Was his slate return? I want to say.
August, September, somewhere in there.
All right. Well, the Angels for my team. Yikes. Where to start?
I'm just playing.
Yeah, back in third place and maybe a little lower. They started the week out in Tampa Bay or St. Petersburg. They split with the Rays. But literally all the games that they lost, the 2 games in that series, they should have won. And I watched every game really, really closely. And it was either a bullpen or a misplay or not getting runs home. It was just more of the same for the Angels. Then they followed that up by not really being close in any of the games in Cincinnati. We know Cincinnati is a threat to win that NL Central. And they got swept by the Reds this weekend there in Ohio. Lost 7-1 on Friday, 7-5, and then 3-0 today. The starter for the Angels, Chris Soriano, he went 6 no-hit innings, and then right when I turn it on my laptop, he gives up a hit. They end up getting runs, and the game was pretty much over with. Mike Trout, again, he's doing what he can, but it's a lot on his plate. Taylor Ward is pretty much doing everything else, but not a lot of help from others. And then the shortstop Neto, he's not really hitting right now. Shawnee Wells back on his feet again hitting, but they're going to need more. And speed killed the Angels. On the other side, Ellie De La Cruz definitely with his speed. Ooh, ran the Angels around in circles. The Angels come back home against Baltimore this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 2 night games, 1 day game, which I have to be at because I lost that bet. On Wednesday, they have Thursday off, and then the Minnesota Twins will come to town. I should be going on the 28th. We'll see what happens there. All right, and then the Phillies come at the end of the month. All right, so let's check out the MLB standings here. Yeah. Let's start in the AL East, and it's a pretty close division right now. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. New York Yankees only lead by a half game over Baltimore. Yankees have been continuing to hit. They're 15-7. Baltimore's 14-7. And then Boston has made it out of the cellar. They're 2.5 back, 13-10. Toronto's 12-10. They tried to sweep the Padres today, but couldn't in San Diego. And then the Rays are 12-11. I kind of knew they would have a fallback year. They lost some good pieces on and off the field. So, yeah, they're 12-11 and last, but it's only 3.5. In the Central, it is kind of fun for the first 3 teams. The Guardians are 16-6. It's amazing what they're doing this year. The Kansas City Royals, the same, 13-9. They're 3 back. The Tigers are 12-10, 4 games out. The Twins, unfortunately, are 7-13, 8 games out. It seems they don't have the offense or the starting pitching. They shred payroll in the offseason. You kind of knew they would have to step back. And then, Chris, man, Chicago White Sox, already 12.5 back. They're 3-18, and I believe they got swept. Yeah, they got swept out in oh God, who did they play this week? But it was Philadelphia. And Friday and Saturday, both Phillies starters had no hitters going into their 7th innings. That's how bad it was for the White Sox offense. In our division, Texas is 12-11. They're one game ahead of Seattle for first place. They're 10-11. The Angels are 9-13, 2.5 back. Oakland is 8-14, 3.5 back. And Chris, the surprising thing are the Houston Astros. They're 7-16, 5 games back of first place. That division, Chris, is winnable. Our division. It's amazing to see how injuries are just affecting some of these teams, and then also how the young players for certain teams aren't working out. So when you see these standings, Chris, what pops out to you for the American League?
Ooh. White Sox being so bad. I don't know how they're surviving right now. Cleveland's kind of a surprise team. I mean, all of these are kind of surprises in their own way, but Cleveland's kind of a surprise team. Chicago's kind of a surprise team, both for different reasons, but those would probably be my top two.
The White Sox, by the way, signed Tommy Pham, the outfielder, who was very, very hot in the playoffs last year for the Diamondbacks. And I guess nobody, I don't know what the hell happened. Nobody wanted him, but he went to lowly Chicago from the South Side. In the National League, Chris, in the NL East, the Braves are leading by 1 game over the Phillies, 14-6, and then 14-8. And the surprising New York Mets, only 2.5 out. They're 12-9. Remember, they started the season really, 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 really bad. But lately, they've been really, 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 really good. They're 8-2. Speaking of really good, the Phillies, they've won 6 games in a row. So they all 3 of those teams are really in it, really good. Fortunately, you got the Washington Nationals. They're 10-11. They actually took care of business against the Astros this week, I should say, this weekend. They're 4.5 out. And then kind of the White Sox of the National League, the Miami Marlins are 6-17 already, 9.5 out. They're struggling. They did win today, but they're already so many games out. In the NL Central, it's a lot of fun this year. I think, surprisingly, the Milwaukee Brewers are 14-6. They're 2 games ahead of the Cubs, who are 13-9. And the Reds are right there, 2.5 out, 12-9. Pittsburgh is 11-11. They've kind of fell back at 4 games out, unfortunately. And then the Cardinals are 9-13. They've had some injuries, but they're 6 games out, and it feels like they're playing just like last year, but a little bit better, but not so much. Now, the NL West is fun because you have the Dodgers, who are 13-11. The Padres are 12-12, and they're 1 game out. Arizona's 11-12, 1.5 out. San Francisco's 10-13, 2.5 out. And then you have the lowly Colorado Rockies, which we'll talk about later. They're 5-16 and 6.5 out already. So it's amazing. You see Colorado, Miami, the White Sox, all just already with bad records. They're going to be right there in the draft lottery or whatever it is. For me, the surprises, I think, Chris, are the Dodgers. They've had some issues. They lost 2 out of 3 to the Mets. They also had their troubles in Chicago with the Cubs. Even though Ohtani and Betts are hitting well. And by the way, Ohtani now took over the home run lead for Japanese-born players over Hideki Matsui this week. And the Dodgers are struggling. The Padres are staying in it. But I think just the fact that the Dodgers are not as good right now, I think is kind of a surprise. And then the way that the Mets have kind of come back up from hell has been really good. What's your surprises and kind of disappointments for the National League right now?
One, I mean, it's the Dodgers because you could say they kind of had a head start, playing that international game. And congratulations to Shohei on that accomplishment. But you had a head start. You would have thought that with that, you could be in the lead much, further down the road than you are now. But I mean, it's still early on in the season, and then for like teams like, they're in the bottom of their division or in the league, when you're like, well, it's hard to catch up because I'm sure at a certain point it is, but even though it's still early on.
And you figure that with the Dodgers, eventually they'll spring ahead in the National League, and everybody else will just try to get National League West or the whole National League, yeah. And then everybody will just try to figure out their wild cards in the National League West. There is one game still going, by the way, as we're live. They had a doubleheader in Colorado because Friday was rained out. But the Mariners lead 10-2 in Colorado, so Colorado's going to have their 17th loss. That's going to the bottom of the 8th there in Denver. So some series of note. You had, again, the Nationals owning the Astros. They shut them out today. That was kind of a shock to me. I believe they swept. No. Let's see here. No. Friday the Astros won, but Saturday and Sunday was all Nationals, and that's kind of surprising to me. Again, the Reds defeated the Angels, no problem at all. The Red Sox took care of business in Pittsburgh this weekend. The Phillies, again, swept the Chicago White Sox, no problem. The Yankees took 2 out of 3 over the Tampa Bay Rays in the Bronx, and we'll talk about the Yankees later. The Guardians had their way against the Oakland A's in Cleveland. And then a surprising series, what maybe a couple of years ago nobody would really watch, but the Orioles and the Royals played each other, and that was a fun series. The Orioles took the Sunday game, and let's see, they took the Saturday game. They're making their way too, just right as they play the Angels. They took 2 out of 3 in Kansas City. Also, there was the Tigers and Twins, and the Tigers took care of business this weekend in Minnesota. The Brewers, the same thing. They went to St. Louis and just owned the Redbirds. Marlins did win today, but they were losing the first 2 of that series to the Cubs. And then the Diamondbacks and Giants, they had a 4-game series in San Francisco. It looks like the Diamondbacks took at least, I believe they split that series in San Francisco. We were waiting for the Diamondbacks to kind of make their run, but I think they split with them. And then you saw the Rangers. How did that series go? Was it Rangers took 2 out of 3?
No, unfortunately, it was the Braves.
So the Rangers avoided the sweep today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's unfortunate. The Rangers
we're above 500. So, I mean,
yeah, it was going to be a major matchup. That's why it was on Sunday Night Baseball, since the Dodgers can't be on every damn Sunday. Everybody wishes that who works there.
sure.
The Rockies and the Mariners. They had a doubleheader today again because Friday was rained out. So they took the Rockies took the game 2-1 today in extra innings, but we have news about how the first game went because it was interesting. The Mariners did win 7-0 on Saturday, so the Mariners are looking to at least take 2 out of 3. All right, so let's get to some. We got through the standings. Yeah, we're good. Some MLB news. So the legendary voice of the New York Yankees, John Sterling, retires at 85 years of age. And it was so sudden, too, because the season already was going. It's April. It's only April. And then last week, on April 15th, he just said, hey, I've had enough. I've had enough of the road trips. I've had enough of everything. I am done. And usually you hear that from, a player, not a broadcaster. And it's just weird to see that. He was with the Yankees from 1989 till this year. He also did the Atlanta Braves, the Atlanta Hawks for TBS, and Atlanta Braves for TBS and other broadcasting career. His career, let's see, it started in Baltimore in 1970 as the Bullets announcer for NBA. Let's see. He did other New York teams, New Jersey teams. He was a broadcaster in New York for a while, Nets and Islanders. But then, yeah, where he really got started was covering the Hawks and the Braves for Turner Sports, and then the was it for for the Braves and Hawks, and then you really got to know him with the Yankees. His signature calls, he would rhyme a certain word with certain player, an A bomb for A Rod for an Alex Rodriguez for a home run. I forget what the judge was. Like some with a gavel, I can't remember, but he had all these different, funny little things whenever a home run was hit, and he always had that thing where when the Yankees won, the Yankees win. So that was always his thing. Right. So you would hear him every time, pretty much on every highlight, on Quick Pitch, on MLB Network, and all that.
Yeah,
always heard him. You always knew him. So yeah, that's a long career, as long as I've been alive, and a little more than that with just the Yankees. How will you remember John Sterling? Chris?
That definitely when that final call, the Yankees win. I mean, I don't watch a lot of Yankees, but I do recognize that call. He was very quick-witted with the nicknames, and it'd probably take me a little bit to figure all that out. But I mean, he was very talented. Did it for a long time. Did it, with other sports before baseball or in between baseball. And he's just going to be missed in the broadcast booth. Hearing highlights and Yankees calls or just baseball calls.
So I have something here where he said he called 5,060 consecutive games for the Yankees from '89 until he took 4 games off in 2019. In July of 2019, he called 158 postseason games, all of them by Derek Jeter, of course. Let's see, because the Yankees didn't go to playoffs until 1995. So for 6 years or 5 years, he didn't have any playoff games, which was weird. But yeah, he was reducing his workload in 2022. Again, getting older. He just knew maybe eventually he would retire at some point, but not during the season like this.
Right.
I'm going through his things. Yeah, the Yankees win. Let's see. It is high, it is far, it is gone is his home run call. You always remember that. Struck him out swinging, strike 3. But emphasis on the eye. And I think he was kind of criticized for being a homer as well, but I think a lot of people do that, though.
Well, when you're working with the Yankees network or whichever network there is, I mean, besides the national, aren't you kind of partial?
You hope to be partial, but sometimes the emotions get to you or whatever. Sometimes that happens, and but he held the job for so long, I guess that didn't matter. Let's get to some more news. So, unfortunately, there was that first game of that doubleheader today in Colorado. There was a fan interference play that happened, and it negated a walk-off home run for the Rockies, who really needed a win. But they did walk off later in the 10th inning, as I mentioned, 2-1. But it's just one of the things, you have a fan reach over. Now, you see at certain ballparks now, including yours in Texas, Chris, where they put the fence lower, and then they have like a barrier between the fans and the fence. But I'm watching it now, and yeah, there's a like a handicap area in at Coors Field and left field where people should just come over and reach over. And yeah, like I said, it cost them a win at that point, but they got it in the 10th inning. And that ended their 6-game losing streak. Now imagine if they didn't win. It would be 7, and that fan, I don't know if he was of course ushered out, but
Actually, I think that's, I don't know, that part's wrong. I don't know.
see, I think back then they allowed people to stay in, but I think now because it's like, oh, it costs a team a run, it costs somebody some money. And Jacob Stallings, by the way, who hit the at first hit the home run until it was reviewed that the fan reached over the yellow line. They've had a lot of close games not go their way this year with Colorado, but luckily they did get a win. Ryan McMahon did say, yeah, it was deflating, but then they got the winning run, luckily. But they're saying, yeah, they're hoping this stuff gets you going. But yeah, they've been Rockies have been going through a lot, including a stomach virus going through the clubhouse this year. So not only have they been losing on the field, but there's been some losing off the field. And I know you mentioned it, Chris, but for me, I guess you have to kick them out. Even as a kid, I've seen where they had to kick them out for, reaching down, grabbing a fair ball, which I don't think the fan really knew if it was fair or foul, the little kid. So you'd kick the parents out with the little boy. But I also, in Colorado, before I go to you, whenever, you know how at Wrigley Field they allow you to throw a ball back.
Yeah.
Like there's other places too. Well, at Colorado, they don't allow that. You can't you can't throw a home run back. So there was a Cub fan who did that years ago. I want to say a kid. I don't know. I think a kid caught it, and because it was a Rocky fan a Rocky player who hit it, and as a Cub fan, you're kind of trained to throw it back.
Yep.
Because of what happens at Wrigley, but they actually kicked the whole family out of a Cubs Rocky game for that. So how do you feel about these situations when you see it affects the players, affects the outcome of the game, it affects the fans? How do you feel in this situation? Do you feel empathy? Do you feel like you messed up the game, so you have to get kicked out?
I think it shouldn't be a run. I think they should change that. I don't know what you would change it to, but I know there's some, like spring leagues in football where, yeah, you can keep the ball, kind of like in baseball. And then you also have, the fan interference. But then in like the football, they'll say it's a personal foul, on your bench. They could do something like that, but maybe not kick the fan out. I don't know.
Yeah, I was looking at some incidents back then, and like I said, they either threw you out or they kept you there, depending on if you're a little kid or not. But eventually, I think rules got firmer, and they had to throw you. They had to, they warn you before the game too. Say, hey, don't touch any ball that is in, that has been fair ball, ruled a fair ball.
They also tell you if you get hit, we're not liable.
That's on the back of, when you got tickets. Now it's on your phone, like on the app on the ticket. If you keep, I think, scrolling down a little more, they have the warnings and all that. And I hate that too. But some parks have put, a screen all the way down the line, like at a Guarantee Rate Field with the White Sox. They put it all the way down the line. And people don't know. It's like, hey, it's for your safety. I know people want foul balls, but they also don't want to get hit by a line drive, where we've seen, people really, really get hurt. I was gonna say something. So for those uh plates, just like it happened today, they actually had to review it because it was it became the last out of the inning, and because it was ruled a home run. Uh, what was it? No. At first, they ruled it as a home run. Stallings, who hit it, ended up at second. But then there's a rule like, hey, if it's fan interference, it's an out. So that's why it was called an out today. And that's the way it was. Let's get to some other fun news today. So every time the Miami Marlins come to Wrigleyville to play the Cubs Wrigley Field, every time the Marlins send their rookies and their young players who maybe came up and didn't have a chance to go to Wrigley Field last year.
Mm-hmm.
On Saturday morning, they sent some players in full uniform to a nearby Starbucks for the annual rookie coffee run. And just imagine you're sitting there, you're waiting for a game, you're waiting for your coffee, and you see MLB players literally come in that Starbucks.
Restaurant, yeah.
And they have a big order, by the way. It's for mostly for the home team. So they have 2 drink containers each, and it's like 5 or 6 players, and they have to, pay that. Right. It's one of the rookie dues. And I can't remember if other teams have done it, but I've seen the Marlins, I think, only do this at Wrigley Field. You've seen before, and this happens in all sports, where a rookie has to get donuts and coffee or newspapers back then for a certain veteran. It's not like really bad rookie hazing anymore, being like taped or abused to, foul poles or whatever, or goal posts or anything like that.
Pay my dinner bill.
Yeah, and that too. That sucks as a rookie when you really think about it. You just were called up, and then there's like this one veteran that tells you, hey, yeah, you have to do this. You have to grab my bags off of the bus and all this and all that.
My cleats.
Yeah. What I would like to see is one rookie just say, hey, I'm better than all, especially on the Marlins, right? I'd be like, hey, I'm already better than you or better than everybody else on this team. If he's really showing out, just be like, hey, I'm not doing anything for anyone. Like, I'm already light years ahead of everybody. Like, I'm not doing anything. Like, I don't have to do anything. I know it's in certain people's contracts too. It's like, hey, I don't have to do this. I don't have to do that. I don't care if it's fun or we're bonding or whatever. I'm not going to do it. So some rookie, moments that I can recall, and they were really strange too. The San Diego Padres, I think, back in 2008, and somebody took a picture from the press box, and I think it was not supposed to get leaked out there. But the rookies, and there was like a good amount of them back in 2008 for San Diego. They had so many injuries for their veteran players for the roster. They all, I think, shaved. I don't know. Yeah, I think they all had to get their heads shaved. Yeah. And then dress up in Hooter outfits. The restaurant.
Yeah, I know.
And I couldn't believe that. It's like, this isn't boot camp or army camp, whatever. And then you're putting me in a Hooters outfit and parading around the ballpark.
That
luckily, like the fans weren't there, though. Luckily.
That sounds like a bad fantasy football bet.
Now you have that, too. And that's kind of a thing. I think when was it? I think last August, I want to say, a broadcaster who lost in his fantasy football for the Giants, I think it was Dave Fleming, he had to be the bat boy for, I think, part of a game or
Or for
all of a
Batman.
game for the Giants last year.
Or for Batman. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. When you think about it, and I notice now there's like older bat women or bat men out there. I've noticed it's not so much kids anymore,
You
and
gotta
of course
you gotta have cardio.
that's true. The Giants, by the way, down the left field line and right field line, they usually have what do you call it? They usually have seniors that try to like stop the ball or try to catch the ball too, and it always gets past them, and a lot of them take a tumble because their balance isn't as good as it as it used to be.
Yeah, that's mean. That's mean.
Yeah, to put them down there like that, and it's cold all the time.
Well, it's cool that they're doing it. You know
Yeah,
what? You just because we know you have no balance, so we're gonna put you down here and see if you can catch it.
it's just sad. Yeah, it's like one of those moments, but um,
Unless
and
they
then
wanted unless they wanted to be on America's Funniest Home Videos, and I don't mind that, but
they're all over they've been around for the bloopers for a long time.
Yep.
For me, I can remember the Angels, and there's a picture somewhere of Mike Trout when he came up in 2011. They were all dressed in like women's clothes and makeup and hair, and they're I think they had to come to the game like that.
right?
Yeah. They had to come to the game like that. I'm trying to remember last year if any player has done anything like that, or it's just been as like simple as, hey, get my bags, or pay for this or pay for that.
Now I've seen different teams. They'll have training camp or spring training, whatever practice they got, and one of the things they'll do is like a talent show.
Yeah.
Or like you got to sing this song. It's every rookie has to sing this song, and
The alma mater of a college.
yeah,
I see that a lot in football, and thank you for telling me that, because there was a time Barry Bonds, and I don't know why he did this. This was like at the end of his career. He had a wig on, and he was like singing and doing an interview. And this was like I said, at the end of his career. He wasn't even a rookie, but just to shake up the Giants locker room, he did that for spring training. And I'm like, you don't see veterans do that.
they're too shy at that point.
Yeah, or they're like, hey, I don't have time for this. A lot of times too, what you hear, which is great, you hear like a veteran player, take some rookies with him to like a steakhouse or a restaurant,
Yeah.
and treat him and just say, hey, this is how the life goes. No more carrying your own bags in the minor leagues,
But you have to pay the bill.
After a while, like if you have a good game or something, or you start seeing other people come with the veteran and be like, oh yeah, it's on him today. It's on the rookie today. He had 4 hits or whatever.
I would hate that, because then the veteran would be like, yeah, I want the biggest steak you got, and I want the red wine or whatever it is, and it's like,
that's another thing that happened, I think, in the NFL last year. I want to say there was a rookie that had to pay like a $20,000 bill at this restaurant. And it's like not even the whole team. It was like maybe 10 or 12 guys at this one restaurant.
Yeah.
But for rookie hazing, he had to pay the whole damn thing. And I'm just like, what the hell? That sucks. Chris, do you remember anything about like rookies having to do something? Any incidents maybe with the Rangers? I'm trying to remember if they've had anything with all the young talent they've had.
Not that I remember. I mean, like I said, I've seen, rookie talent shows. I've seen, the players taking, the rookies out to dinner. I've seen different stuff like that, but None that I can recall. I mean, I've seen players also take their, equipment. They had to carry the equipment around, but that's really it.
Now, one next topic before we get out of here. You know how we talked about Jackson Holiday, the
Yeah.
Orioles' first pick, and how he's off to a rough start. And for some reason, there was rumors saying that he was going to get, was it sent down already? But that was all false.
I thought I saw something about that too.
Yeah. But it was a fake. Even though it was on X, it was like a fake account, but they added a check mark there.
Yeah, well,
That blue check
anybody
mark
can
is
get
so
that now.
important.
You can get that anytime now, but
Yeah. I didn't know that. I thought you had to pay for that.
you do.
Oh, you do? Okay. But don't fret when we talk about Jackson Holiday. I'm hoping to see him on Wednesday if I go to the Angels game. There's been so many Hall of Famers that had bad starts to their career. Adrian Beltre, you know him, of course, from
Yeah.
the Rangers. His rookie year with the Dodgers was 1998, and he only hit an average of 215, well below an average of everybody else back then. He only had 2 home runs in that season,
Oh,
but look how he ended up. He became a Hall of Famer, 3,000 hits. Johnny Bench, the famed catcher from the Reds, maybe the best catcher ever.
best
he
name
came up-
too, probably.
Yeah. 1967, he came up. He only had 26 games, but he only hit 163, and he ended up being maybe the best catcher of all time. George Brett, and I saw a documentary on him in 1973. He came up with Mr. Royals, basically. He was always known for having a great average, but it was only like 236 at one point through his first 3 years. It only got as high as that. But after that, he started to go off. Reggie Jackson, the famed World Series hitter, Mr. October, came up in 1967 with the A's. I believe the Kansas City A's at that point, before they moved to Oakland. Before he was Mr. October, it took him 113 plate appearances for him to hit the first of his 563 home runs. So eventually, he got 1 home run. It was the only one of that year, but eventually he went off. So it was really cool to see. And I'll end it with Cal Ripken Jr. We know him, of course, as Mr. Oriole, the one who played so many games in a row, got the record.
Mm-hmm.
Came up in 91, late call-up at age 20. Father was a coach. Brother later came on with the Orioles. He only hit 128, no extra base hits. He just was nothing at all until the next season. And then the season after that, 83, they won the whole World Series. They won everything. So, I would think to myself, what's the advice for a young hitter who's really having a hard time at first? If you're to tell that major leaguer who just came up and he's not, let's say like Jackson Holiday, in his first week or two, he's really struggling. What advice would you have for him?
Yeah, just keep trying. I mean, your career is just starting out. You're going to have some ups and downs, good days, bad days. Everybody does. But I think you just keep working at it. You keep trying, and eventually you'll get there, and you'll get, to the point where you're a full major league player. Maybe sometimes they send them, up and then back down like we were talking about. But you just got to keep trying and play your own baseball and see where it takes you.
That's true. Yeah, that's about all you can say is just, hey, if there's anything you can improve on as well, there's, there's video now. Back then, you didn't have video of every damn player, of every pitcher, right?
Right.
Now, you have video of everyone to look at a picture and try to beat them and try to do better next time. So let's finish the show here with some trivia. Remember, I said every show,
Yep.
we should do trivia for every day. So this will be, of course, about the MLB. I'm trying to figure out a category for you here. There's a lot of different things on the MLB app, and I'm trying to think of what to do here. Stars and specs. I'm trying to think of what to do. Okay. So, Chris, 2010's home run leaders by teams.
Okay.
So last year, or the last decade, excuse me. Okay. I'll just give you a few teams or whatnot. I'm sorry. A player. I'll give you a player, and then you tell me the team that he led that team with home runs in for last decade.
Okay.
I'll do that. First one,
Alright.
Adrian Beltre.
What did you do? Play 20 teams last year?
No.
Oh,
For last decade,
Rangers.
yeah, he ended up having. Let's see. It's so confusing here. It doesn't say how many, but that was one. Okay, Andrew McCutchen. What team did he? No.
Angels.
No.
I don't know.
Pirates.
Pirates.
Let's see. Here. Ooh. Okay. Paul Goldsmith.
Cardinals.
Diamondbacks. Yeah, Albert Pujols.
Rangers.
Angels. I'm sorry, no, Cardinals. Mike Trout.
Phillies.
No, he was only an Angel last decade. He led the league with home runs, or he led the team with home runs last decade. What about Nolan Arenado? Do you remember what team he played for before he was traded to the Cardinals?
Braves.
Rockies.
Rockies.
How about Ryan Braun? He's still with the team, by the way, all these years.
Padres.
Brewers. All right. Freddie Freeman. The team before he went to the Dodgers.
Braves.
Yep. Wasn't too many either, from what I recall. Let's see. You would think. Oh, Miguel Cabrera. He just retired with someone last year.
Giants.
Tigers. I'll end it with. Who's someone? Oh, David Ortiz.
Orioles.
Red Sox.
Red Sox.
He was their big DH, won all those rings with them. I think, okay. Yeah, it has to be Beltre for the
Rangers.
Yeah, for the Rangers. Remember, Nelson Cruz is also a big hitter for you guys back last decade. throughout the time because you guys went to the World Series a couple of times.
Yeah.
Winning last year, but all right, I guess we'll get to our final thoughts because we're almost at the hour mark.
We are.
Cool being back here for On Deck. Hopefully, Big B or others can also join us next week. We'll have some, of course, interesting topics, and then also we'll go through the games and our team reports and all of that. What's your final thoughts, Chris?
Yeah, thanks everyone for watching and tuning in. Baseball season's finally here. Join us every Sunday, 9 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Pacific. Thursday, the NFL draft. Join us here. We'll cover the first round. Other two days are kind of long, so we'll do the first round and so come hang out.
Yeah, are they only doing the first round, Chris? Thursday?
We are, yeah. But
no, the draft.
Oh yeah, the first round's on Thursday. Second and third is on Friday, and then the rest are on Saturday.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
I can remember, of course, when it was like
one day,
all on a Saturday, and started early in the morning out here, like 9 a.m. I can always remember that.
Yeah, and then I think in 2010 they're like
spread it out.
2011 they're like, but let's go to prime time.
And that too, yeah.
Right.
Make it a whole thing, cover it on all different channels. Yep.
Yeah.
I remember that. All right, be sure to watch all the programs on C2C again tomorrow. Bro Code. Tuesday will be Rankum, and then at C2C at night. Wednesday, I want to say it's Sports Minute, but I think Press Row will be one day a week now for Callan McClurg. I want to say it's a Wednesday or a Monday. I can't recall, Chris.
Uh-huh.
Damn, I can't remember. Thursday, look for Creeping It Real. Friday, Entertainment Hour. And then, of course, On Deck here. Sundays. And then Between the Ropes will come right now. But Saturday, of course, remember, April 27th. That is what, next week? Yeah, this upcoming Saturday will be the start of the Oregon Cougar football season. And then May 4th, of course, will be the Backyard Brew Games, and also in Oregon in Eugene. So check out all that on the network. There's something for everybody you would hope for. Everyone take care, and we'll see you next time on Deck. Later.